All right, it's finally here. More like my part one of all me going over all the movies that I've seen this year ranked, which is 44. So here's all 44 films that I've seen this year ranked. This video is gonna be me talking about the movies that I didn't really like, um, and then the next one is gonna be the ones that I loved. So I liked the year of 2024 overall. I think most of the films that we've had were really good and solid flicks. Well, there were some turds in the mix. So let's get right into it. The 44th uh, film, least favorite of the year. The outright worst film, I think. And that was the 13 Academy Award nominated film, including Best Picture, Emilia Perez. Yeah, I mean, look, everyone has kind of said how bad this movie is. I'm practically kicking a dead horse with this one, but it was really bad. It really was. The acting from the three main actresses in the film were terrible. The filmmaking is not good. The music's terrible. It's cringe, and when it's not cringe, it's just boring. Like I don't want to get like some of these movies that are bad. Like I don't want to like spend too much time on them because I feel like enough has been said about why they're bad, and enough has been said about Emilia Perez and the controversies behind it all. I can't believe the Oscars like nominated all the awards. It's just so annoying. This was just the worst movie that I saw this year. All right, number 43, Gladiator 2, the most disappointing film from this year. And I'm surprised there's like also because I'm just realizing now, like my bottom two movies, I know they have pretty good scores on Rotten Tomatoes, which is just baffles me, but I know people don't like Rotten Tomatoes anymore. But Gladiator 2 was just like more of a disappointment because of how I love Gladiator. I really do. It's just a great historical epic that's fun when it comes to balancing the action and its politics, the political drama aspect. It was great. I loved it. And this movie was just terrible. It opens up by literally saying that everything that happened at the end of that movie doesn't matter because Rome went back to crap again. And like this movie just made me mad. It wasn't as like fun. Like none of the gladiator fight scenes weren't fun because like I had a problem because most of it they're fighting like CGI animals. I'm talking about like the first one with the monkeys because that was just like even when I saw that in the trailer I was just like, oh my god, this just takes me right out of it. And it's sad that in a movie called Gladiator 2, the best gladiator match scene was the one in that like senator's house. I thought that was like the best one because it felt like the real. Like that was one of the few good parts of this movie. Because the acting in this is nothing really to take home about. Like people wanted Denzel Washington to get nominated for best supporting actor, and he phoned this movie in completely, which sucks because he and Ridley Scott made a pretty damn good movie with American Gangster, which is like up there with that and Gladiator are like one of my top three favorite films of Ridley Scott. And Denzel was great in American Gangster, but in this he's phoned this one in completely. And it has nothing to do with him having like him having his typical American accent. He did that when he played Macbeth in the Joel Coen film. Like he still kind of had his American accent, but he had a more of a gravitas to that, and he just did not have it with this character in Gladiator 2. He completely phoned it in, but he made it up with playing Othello on Broadway, which I saw recently. He was really great in that. So it's definitely not like, I don't think his age, is like slowing down at all. It's just such a shame though, because we kind of had, this year we had 2 sequels to movies directed by Ridley Scott. And the one that was directed by him was like the worst one out of the 2. So that's part of what's just a shame. But it's just a shame that Ridley Scott just isn't like, great, like a filmmaker that he used to be. But at the same time though, I think most, like, even if you watch some of his older films, like going back to like, 1900s, like even some of his older stuff is like hit or miss. Like I'm not big on Legend or G.I. Jane. Even Aliens hit or miss with me, but Gladiator was just something I loved. And I did kind of like the build up to it coming out. Besides Glick It, because like it was just cool that we were having like a movie that was like meant to be kind of a realistic historical epic. I know there's historical accuracies, but that's in a lot of movies. I was just saying it was kind of cool to have a movie that was more kind of grounded, or meant to be grounded, and historical epic, because that's not really a thing anymore. That part was exciting, but it was just so disappointing. Characters are just bland. Action's not fun. Story is uninteresting. I gotta stop talking about Gladiator 2, because it really like it was so bad. I kind of like started crying like towards the end. That's just how bad. That's how bad it got. All right, number 43. I fixed it. Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. I did not watch the new like Netflix director's cut by Zack Snyder, which is stupid because I thought like, the whole point, Zack Snyder was going to go to Netflix and make, his own cuts like of, the movies that he's making. Like it would be the one that would put on Netflix would be the definitive one. But I guess, okay. But I guess like he wanted to put up the PG-13 versions first. I mean, overall, like, my whole problem is that this did not need to be like 2 movies. Or maybe it did, and I need to watch the director's cut. But if this just felt like a waste of time, like this entire movie just felt like it's just one big third act when it's supposed to be like the middle chapter of a story, but it should just been one movie. This is meant to just be like Zack Snyder's space version of Seven Samurai that was going to be a Star Wars movie universe film at first. But, it's... I gotta stop. I already kind of like talked about this one, so I need to move on from this one. All right, number 42, Drive Away Dolls by Ethan Coen. This one's also sad. I want to say it's sadder than Gladiator 2, because Gladiator 2 is a disappointing sequel. This is a disappointing film by a filmmaker I love. Or, well, like, this one kind of makes me question the whole thing with the Coen brothers. Because, now they're kind of separated and they're making their own movies. Well, I mean, the Coen brothers say that they're going to get back to make another movie, but I don't know. Nothing's really coming of that production. Joe Coen's, like, IMDb page is, like, completely, his upcoming stuff is, like, blank. There's nothing. And, this being Ethan Coen and co-written by his wife, it makes me question, like, how much of Ethan's input into the movies with the brothers is actually in there. Because this movie is, look, directing-wise, it actually is really good. I do like the look of it. The shots are great. And I guess like I liked Bill Camp from Sound of Freedom. He has a funny part in this. The writing, the dialogue, it's the comedy. It just, nothing really worked in this movie. I guess there were some jokes that were kind of funny, but like the whole thing was just not funny. And I expected more from like, you know, one of the Coen brothers. And this one just, this was just very disappointing. It was just very disappointing. It's just like the plot isn't like well constructed, but I know it's like oh my god, it's so annoying. I really was not into this. This was just disappointing because I love the Coen brothers, and this looked like it would be another fun movie from one of them. Because like, you know, I liked Joel Coen's Macbeth. And now after seeing that movie, I don't know if Joel Coen can make a good movie on his like own, you know, with like an original script of his. So brothers, get back together, please. All right, number 41 is going to shock people, but it's Nickel Boys. Yeah, I have another Best Picture winner that is this low. I mean, technically, yeah, it's better than Amelie Perez. Because, like, you know, it's not cringe, but it's still boring. Kind of like how Amelie Perez has its boring moments. Most of this movie was pretty boring. And it's even worse because this is like a story that is really interesting and like can be really good and thought-provoking. You know, it's about telling, you know, a story during Jim Crow South about this like real place, and it's the way it's told and directed, it's just kind of boring and like way too pretentious. Like I wish you just gave us the story instead of this like intricate way of telling it. I just show me it. Wasn't really into this. I just wasn't into it. I was kind of bored. I'm sorry, it's this low, and everyone's gonna hate what I put over it. Number 40 is The Crow remake. I didn't think this movie was that terrible. It's still not good, but the big thing that this has over the original movie is the gore. This movie is pretty violent. I did enjoy it for that, because I should talk about the original Crow, because the actual best part about this movie is that it made me watch the original beforehand, and the original Crow movie is a pretty damn good movie. It's got one of Eddie Murphy's best performances. And the direction, the look of the movie is awesome. Brandon Lee, the scenes, you know, that he was alive to film for, he's really good in them. Also, Michael Wincott is fun as the bad guy, but the problem with The Crow was that with the tragedy that happened, they kind of had to like, you know, tone down on the violence. But this one, they go all out on the violence. The Crow has a katana in this one, and he didn't in the original because Brandon Lee found it like offensive or stereotypical because he was like, you know, he was part Asian from Bruce Lee's side. And yeah, that's like the only reason, but like everything else, this was just kind of a little this was a very mediocre movie, unlike its original, which was interesting, gothic, and cool to look at. This was just kind of bland, and the only thing that was gothic was that it was filmed in London, which, like, come on, you gotta do more than just film in London or just any other European town to have a gothic look. You still need to put more effort, like another movie with Bill Skarsgård that this year that was way better that I'm going to talk about in the next video. You all know what that is. But yeah, I liked the violence just because I liked the whole opera action scene, which I thought was fun. And that was really it. I didn't really care for this one that much. And I didn't hate on it as much. I think people just picked on this one way too much. Because it's not that awful. It's just very forgettable. Number 39, Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. I already talked about this one. I'm not going to go that deep. I kind of want the MonsterVerse to change, but they're not going to change because this one made a lot of money and they don't give a shit. Number 38, Beetlejuice. Look, I like Beetlejuice 1. It's not one of my favorite comedies, but I do really appreciate it, and I like the comedic aspects. But this movie, really not that fun for the most part. The only, like, the three best parts was, Willem Dafoe as this, like, afterlife cop. That was pretty fun to watch. I wish there was more of him in it. Catherine O'Hara was still really great in this movie. Hilarious to watch. Stole the show for most of it. And Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice himself is still really good. The rest of it's insufferable. I did not care for Winona Ryder's Lydia. I don't really think they needed to bring the Deets back. I feel like a Beetlejuice sequel should just be like should have a new set of characters with the only one staying is Beetlejuice and maybe some of the afterlife characters. But I'm not a Winona Ryder fan to begin with. I thought she was terrible in this. I didn't care for Jenna Ortega in it. I thought she was just bland. I didn't like Justin Theroux's character. This movie just didn't really click for me because it's mainly the stuff in the real world is boring. When there's no Catherine O'Hara around, it's boring. Boring movie. I don't really care for it. Not the big comeback that I really want from Tim Burton. Monica Bellucci is like not in enough as the main bad guy. It's towards the end it feel like it was getting better, but no. And now I think they're making a third one. At least that's what they're set on doing. I don't know. Tim, try to do better next time. Or just stop making movies. I don't know. This really wasn't the great comeback that, everyone made it out to be. All right, 37. Another Oscar movie. A Complete Unknown. Yeah, this was just kind of boring to me. I mean, the part that was only cool to me is, like, the makeup they did with Boyd Holbrook. I did not know that he was Johnny Cash. That was, like, really good. And I like Boyd Holbrook. I wish I could see more of him. Chalamet was whatever. He's better in Dune Part 2. Edward Norton, I didn't really care for him, his acting in this. James Mangold, like, this movie kind of just proves that, like, James Mangold, yeah, he's a good director, but he also needs a good script, which is why, like, the movies that we love him for have great scripts, like Logan and Ford v Ferrari, and also Walk the Line, which had a better narrative than this film did. This movie just goes all over the place, and it's just not really fun. Number 36 is Civil War. This is, I think when it comes to this year, I think the most overrated film was this. Because, I don't know, as a movie that's tackling like a kind of modern day American Civil War, it's just not how I would have done it. First off, I just would not have set it on, like, the perspective of journalists. I would have had it been on, like, American soldiers. Go into that mindset of, like, what are they doing the right thing by fighting, fighting one another. That would have been more interesting. Or they take more of like a Firefly route where it's like people with more libertarian-esque views fighting against a government that's getting way too big with their regulations and all that. That would have been interesting, but I don't really know. Like, Alex Garland just has had, like, it comes off that he has a lot to say about America, but this really has nothing. I don't really get anything out of what this is saying about America and its politics at all. It doesn't work for me. So coming in number 35 is the Mean Girls remake. I didn't think this movie was that bad. It's something really great or good. I found it to be fine. I thought there's some good, cool camera work with how, like, they staged the musical sequences. I thought some of that was fun. But it really does lack the dark edginess of the original Mean Girls. And look, I'm not really even saying this movie was unnecessary because this isn't remaking the original movie exactly. It's like also adapting from the musical, so it's adding songs. Like, there's something different about it where, like, it does feel like I'm okay that this can exist. But it's not as dark as the original or, like, funny. I felt the actresses were fine. The actress who played like Regina George, I thought she was actually pretty good. Not as good as like Rachel McAdams. That's a problem. Like the girls themselves, like they weren't like as malicious as those like original three were. Anguirus Rice was fun, and it was nice seeing Jenna Fisher in something. But yeah, this movie, like, if you're not a big musical theater person, you're not really going to enjoy this. I got some slight enjoyment out of it, but it truly, like, it wasn't really that bad. Number 34, Venom: The Last Dance. This is the only Sony versus Spider-Man movie spinoff that I saw this year out of the three that were released. And it's still just the three Venom movies that I've seen from this universe. I still haven't seen Morbius, Madam Web, or Kraven. But when we get to Beyond the Spider-Verse, if they're still locked on that date, then I'll probably rank every single Spider-Man related project. So I'll rank all Spider-Man movies and then all 6 of those spin-offs. That's the only time I'll probably check out those movies. I am interested in watching them to see how bad. But yeah, for now. But this movie, I do like the first 2 Venom movies, but this is definitely the weakest one. But I still thought, Tom Hardy was still great in it. The comedy was good. Him as Venom is still like the best portrayal that we have. But there's just no villain. There really was no villain. There's no like true main antagonist. It was just these like space creatures, and that was it. Because like you think that they were setting up that like the character, it was like Null, who was voiced by Andy Serkis, clearly at the last second because they announced it like 2 weeks before the movie, so they definitely did not know who they were going to cast. I wish like Andy Serkis, like I wish that's what they should have done. That's who should have been the big bad at the end, but they completely dropped the ball. There was just nothing, like this this didn't really feel like the big conclusion to Venom. And also like we still haven't had, like I don't want to see this Venom go when we still haven't seen him like go up against Spider-Man or team up with Spider-Man. Which is also like a big fault on like John Watts and Marvel for not like having Eddie join in at the end of No Way Home. Like he didn't have to be like Venom didn't have to be the like a big character in No Way Home. He could have just like came at the end like when the both Toby and Andrew come in. They could have just done that. Number 33, Maxine, I just realized it's another third film that concludes a trilogy. So I guess I'll just quickly say my thoughts on this X trilogy. I'm not big on X because I don't really care for like porn and like the overt like nudity and sexuality of it. But Pearl, I actually loved. Pearl is up there with one of my favorite horror movies of this decade so far. That was just a really good like character study with some actually really good like gore and violence. So that's what I like. I don't care for nudity and sex. I like gore and violence, which this one also does. Had some, but it was overall it just kind of like came out forgettable, which is sad because it definitely like it had a really fun cast that it had. Like I think Kevin Bacon was the most like memorable part. No, actually, I liked Elizabeth Debicki as like the film director. So like this had like stuff that could be cool that I could vibe with, but it just something about this one just did not really like stick with me that much, which is sad. But still, like it has cool cinematography, and I do like Mia Goth. I hope to see her in more stuff. Number 32, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Was meant to be the new trilogy chapter of the this new like timeline of Planet of the Apes. This one was enjoyable, but like I think I couldn't really see well. That was my big complaint. But overall, like I did kind of enjoy some stuff. Mainly I liked seeing William H. Macy in this because, God, I have not seen him in a big movie like ever. I have not seen him at all in big movies. So it was kind of nice seeing him in this. I liked Kevin Durant's like bad guy ape character. Like it did have like interesting ideas about like how like messages or like like morals from the past are now represented in the future, and how like things get twisted and changed. Stuff like that I thought was like really cool. I mean, I'll still look. I'll still go see more like the next movies in this universe. I hope they'll finally like from Rise of the Planet of the Apes. They're definitely like I don't know if they're try. I don't know what they're doing, but like they were kind of trying to plant the seeds for like Charlton Heston's like characters and the astronauts from the first movie, because they say how in Rise that like a spaceship towards Mars like went missing, so they're gonna try to do. They're doing something with that, or like they have to do something like that. That's what the next one should kind of be, because I thought they were gonna set up for the next one, but this does have interest. This did have like interesting things to say of like what happened like after war, and like what's going on with the with the virus that was started. So there are interesting things that I'm interested to see what will happen. Number 31, Reagan, another movie that really wasn't as dog crap as people made it out to be. I mean, like I think some of the filmmaking editing isn't great. I don't think the look of it is like all right. The best parts is really the acting. I liked Dennis Quaid is really good as Reagan. I think Penelope Ann Miller, I probably got that wrong. I think the girl who plays like Nancy Reagan, I thought she was good. There's probably other stuff, but there's a lot of actors who are not big anymore that are in this movie that I kind of enjoyed. I'm not getting too stuck on this one, but I liked this movie. It was enjoyable, and good message about like this like guy who like wanted to change, who really tried to change the world, and he ended up doing so, and he like put in hard work. So I kind of like that aspect. But the problem with telling Reagan's story is that I think there's way too much. So it's either you gotta like pick and choose what do you want to focus on, or the way I think of it, just make an entire trilogy. I'm serious. Just make a Reagan trilogy that each represents like his acting day, his like early life, like his youth to acting days. Movie number 2 is like him starting to be in politics, like governor, and then him running for president, and then the big third end of the trilogy is his 2 terms in president. So that's how I would just make an epic Reagan trilogy. Number 30, Cabrini. This was released by Angel Studios, and it is by the same director of Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom is a movie that has had a lot said, and this movie is I thought this was a lot better than Sound of Freedom. I thought the character development on this woman who went out to save these children and protect them from the streets by creating this orphanage, these Italian immigrants, was really great. I loved it. It was a good character study. Some of it went on too long, but I did enjoy those aspects. 29, Joker Folie à Deux, or Joker 2. I don't care. This really wasn't bad. I thought there was a lot of interesting things as like response to the first movie, and like stuff about like Arthur's character that like makes us question more about like, was he always evil, or just did society want him to be evil? So I thought all that stuff was interesting. The music sequences I actually thought were shot beautifully. It looked really good. Also, Joaquin Phoenix was not terrible in this. People say he was bad, but I think that's like the character. He's being like, he is just a weird guy at the end. So that's like, what do you expect? And that's much. Not much to say about, like, I didn't think it was that terrible. It's a weird artsy movie. You can't really get over, fixated about it. 28, Unfrosted. I enjoyed this movie. It really wasn't terrible. It's a dumb, stupid Jerry Seinfeld comedy. It knows it is. It doesn't try to like ever be, like dramatic. This is exactly how a Jerry Seinfeld movie would be. It's all just goofy characters, goofy stories, and no big like dramatic hug and kiss at the end. So I thought it was fun. I had like actors like Amy Schumer and Melissa McCartney like actually funny. Like I can't believe Melissa McCartney was actually funny in something. All right, number 27, Alien Romulus. I've talked about this before on a big ranking I did with the Alien, Predator, and Blade Runner movies. I mean, my whole problem is that the characters suck. Besides the android, everyone else in this movie kind of sucked. But, you know, the cinematography, the set design, and the practical effects were really good, and the end was, like, balls to the wall crazy, and I kind of enjoyed it. Still not the best, one of the best Alien movies. I still like Aliens is still my favorite. But that's just me. And then number 26, Inside Out 2. Not as good as Inside Out. Like, Kyle even thinks that this is better than Inside Out, but I don't think it's as good as Inside Out. But I like that they didn't try to recapture it. This was like Inside Out, I think, was touching on like a bigger part of a girl's life. This was like touching on a kind of like a small but like a good moment in Riley's life where she like learned like, you know, learned something important, but it wasn't like as big as, wasn't like high stakes as what happened with the first Inside Out, which I'm fine. I like that the stakes weren't that high and they were good. You know, it was good like character building. I would still see more from Inside Out. Like, I'll still go. It's one of the few animated movies I'll go back to if it's another like Inside Out. Like, I'd rather they'd make Inside Out 3 than another Toy Story movie. Like, Jesus Christ, guys. All right, so that's it for now. Those are just all the movies that I'm very like. You know, I either liked, not as much as everyone else, but you know, I thought there were some good stuff, or they were just terrible. But next video, that's going to be all the stuff that I pretty much did enjoy as movies. And we'll talk about that next time. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you very much. Subscribe and have a good day.